Welcome! Today, we're diving into the world of housing regulation. Whether you're a homeowner, renter, or simply curious about how housing markets are shaped, understanding housing regulation is essential. These rules and policies influence everything from the types of homes built to how much rent you pay. In this video, we'll break down what housing regulation means, why it exists, and how it affects everyday life. Let's start by exploring the basic definition and purpose of housing regulation, setting the stage for a deeper look at its impact on communities and individuals. At its core, housing regulation refers to the set of laws, rules, and policies that govern how housing is built, maintained, rented, and sold. These regulations are created by governments at various levels, local, state, and national, to ensure that housing is safe, accessible, and fair. Housing regulation covers a wide range of topics, from building codes and safety standards to rent control and zoning laws. By setting these rules, governments aim to protect residents, promote public welfare, and shape the development of neighborhoods. You might wonder, why do we need housing regulation in the first place? The answer lies in the need to balance the interests of different groups, homeowners, renters, developers, and the broader community. Without regulation, housing markets could become chaotic, with unsafe buildings, unfair practices, or environmental harm. Regulations help ensure that homes are built to certain standards, that tenants have rights, and that neighborhoods develop in a way that benefits everyone. In short, housing regulation is about creating order, safety, and fairness in the housing market. Housing regulation isn't a one-size-fits-all concept. There are many different types, each addressing specific aspects of housing. Some regulations focus on how buildings are constructed. These are known as building codes. Others deal with how land can be used, called zoning laws. There are also rules about how much landlords can charge for rent, known as rent control. By understanding these different types, we can see how regulation shapes every stage of the housing process, from planning and construction to renting and selling. Let's start with building codes. These are sets of standards that dictate how homes and other structures must be built. Building codes cover everything from the materials used to the safety features required, like fire exits and smoke detectors. The goal is to make sure that buildings are safe for people to live in and can withstand natural disasters. Building codes are updated regularly to reflect new technologies and safety concerns, ensuring that homes remain secure and up to date. Next, let's talk about zoning laws. Zoning laws determine how land in a community can be used. For example, some areas are zoned for residential use, meaning only homes can be built there. Others are zoned for commercial or industrial use. Zoning laws help organize cities and towns, prevent overcrowding, and separate incompatible land uses. They also influence the look and feel of neighborhoods, shaping everything from building heights to the amount of green space. Rent control is another important type of housing regulation. It sets limits on how much landlords can increase rent, protecting tenants from sudden and unaffordable hikes. Rent control policies vary widely from place to place, but the main goal is to keep housing affordable, especially in cities where demand is high. While rent control helps many renters, it can also have unintended effects, such as reducing the incentive for landlords to maintain properties or build new housing. Health and safety standards are a crucial part of housing regulation. These rules ensure that homes are free from hazards like mold, lead paint, or faulty wiring. Inspections are often required before a property can be rented or sold, and landlords must address any issues that arise. By enforcing these standards, governments protect the well-being of residents and help prevent accidents or illnesses related to poor housing conditions. Tenant rights are another key area of housing regulation. These laws protect renters from unfair treatment, such as illegal evictions or discrimination. Regulations may require landlords to provide notice before entering a rental unit or to return security deposits promptly. By outlining the rights and responsibilities of both landlords and tenants, these rules help create a fair and stable rental market. Just as tenants have rights, landlords have obligations under housing regulation. They must maintain properties in good condition, make necessary repairs, and follow local laws regarding leases and rent collection. Failure to meet these obligations can result in fines or legal action. These rules ensure that landlords provide safe, habitable housing and treat tenants fairly. Affordable housing policies are designed to help people with low or moderate incomes find safe, decent homes. These policies may include subsidies, tax incentives for developers, or requirements that a certain percentage of new housing be affordable. By supporting affordable housing, governments aim to reduce homelessness and ensure that everyone has access to a place to live. Environmental regulations also play a role in housing. These rules might require energy-efficient building materials, limit water usage, or protect green spaces. The goal is to reduce the environmental impact of housing and promote sustainability. By following these regulations, builders and homeowners can help protect the planet while also saving money on utilities. Housing regulations are created by a variety of government bodies. Local governments often set building codes and zoning laws, while state and national governments may establish broader policies, such as fair housing laws or environmental standards. Sometimes, multiple levels of government work together to create comprehensive regulations that address local needs while meeting national goals. Enforcement is a critical part of housing regulation. Government agencies conduct inspections, investigate complaints, and issue fines or penalties for violations. In some cases, tenants or community groups can also report problems. Effective enforcement ensures that regulations are more than just words on paper. They actually improve housing conditions and protect residents. Housing inspectors are professionals who check properties to ensure they meet all relevant regulations. They look for issues like structural damage, fire hazards, or code violations. Inspectors play a vital role in maintaining safe and healthy housing, and their work helps prevent accidents and protect tenants' rights. Public participation is an important part of the regulatory process. Community members can attend public hearings, submit comments, or join advisory boards. Their input helps shape regulations that reflect local needs and values. By getting involved, residents can influence decisions about housing in their neighborhoods. Creating housing regulations involves balancing the interests of many groups. Homeowners want property values to rise, renters seek affordability, developers look for profit, and communities desire safety and stability. Policymakers must weigh these competing interests to create fair and effective regulations that serve the common good. Despite their benefits, housing regulations can also create challenges. Strict rules may slow down construction or increase costs, making it harder to build new homes. Sometimes, regulations can unintentionally limit affordable housing or discourage innovation. Policymakers must constantly review and update regulations to address these challenges and keep housing markets healthy. When done well, housing regulation brings many benefits. It ensures that homes are safe, neighborhoods are well planned, and everyone has a fair chance to find housing. Regulations can also help protect the environment and promote social equity. By setting clear rules, governments create a stable and predictable housing market that benefits everyone. However, too much regulation can have downsides. Overly strict rules may make it expensive or difficult to build new homes, leading to housing shortages and higher prices. It's important for policymakers to find the right balance, protecting residents without stifling growth or innovation. Let's look at a real-world example: rent control in major cities. In places like New York or San Francisco, rent control has helped many tenants stay in their homes despite rising prices. However, critics argue that it can reduce the supply of rental housing and discourage landlords from maintaining properties. This case study shows how regulations can have both positive and negative effects, depending on how they're designed and enforced. Another example is zoning laws. In some cities, strict zoning has preserved the character of neighborhoods and prevented overcrowding, but it can also limit the construction of new homes, making housing less affordable. This highlights the need for flexible, responsive regulations that adapt to changing needs. Housing regulation looks different around the world. Some countries have strict national policies, while others leave most decisions to local governments. Cultural values, economic conditions, and political systems all influence how housing is regulated. By comparing international approaches, we can learn new strategies for making housing more accessible and affordable. As cities grow and technology evolves, housing regulation must adapt. New challenges like climate change, urbanization, and changing family structures require innovative solutions. Policymakers are exploring ways to make regulations more flexible, efficient, and responsive to the needs of modern communities. Technology is changing how housing is regulated and managed. Digital tools make it easier to track building permits, report violations, and enforce codes. Smart home technology can also help ensure safety and efficiency. As technology advances, it will continue to shape the future of housing regulation. Sustainability is becoming a bigger focus in housing regulation. Rules now encourage or require energy-efficient designs, renewable materials, and reduced carbon footprints. These changes help protect the environment and lower costs for homeowners and renters alike. Innovative policies are being developed to address the affordable housing crisis. These include modular construction, micro-apartments, and public-private partnerships. By thinking creatively, governments and developers can find new ways to provide affordable homes for everyone. Equity is a growing concern in housing regulation. Policymakers are working to eliminate discrimination and ensure that everyone, regardless of background, has access to safe and affordable housing. Fair housing laws and anti-discrimination policies are key tools in this effort. Housing regulation also shapes community development. By guiding where and how homes are built, regulations influence the growth of neighborhoods, the availability of public spaces, and the overall quality of life. Good regulation supports vibrant, inclusive communities where people want to live. There's a strong link between housing regulation and public health. Safe, well-maintained homes reduce the risk of accidents, illness, and stress. Regulations that address issues like ventilation, sanitation, and pest control help keep communities healthy and thriving. Housing regulation has a big impact on the economy. It affects construction jobs, property values, and the cost of living. Well-designed regulations can stimulate economic growth by encouraging investment and development, while poorly designed rules can slow progress and raise costs. Stable housing is the foundation of stable communities. Regulations that ensure fair access and protect tenants help prevent homelessness and social unrest. By promoting stability, housing regulations support stronger, more resilient societies. Creating housing regulations is a complex process. It involves research, public input, drafting proposals, and legislative approval. Policymakers must consider data, expert opinions, and community feedback to create effective and fair rules. Housing regulations aren't set in stone. They must be updated regularly to reflect new challenges, technologies, and community needs. Policymakers review regulations, gather feedback, and make changes to keep rules relevant and effective. For regulations to work, people need to know about them. Public awareness campaigns and educational programs help residents, landlords, and developers understand their rights and responsibilities. Informed communities are better equipped to follow rules and advocate for improvements. Urban planning and housing regulation go hand in hand. Regulations guide the growth of cities, determine where homes and businesses can be built, and influence transportation and infrastructure. Good planning and regulation create livable, efficient, and attractive urban environments. Transportation is closely linked to housing regulation. Zoning laws and development policies can encourage public transit, reduce traffic, and make neighborhoods more walkable. By coordinating housing and transportation planning, cities can improve quality of life and reduce environmental impact. Regulations also help prepare communities for disasters. Building codes may require earthquake-resistant designs or flood protections. These rules save lives and reduce damage when disasters strike, making communities safer and more resilient. Innovation in housing regulation is essential for meeting future challenges. New materials, construction methods, and digital tools are changing the way homes are built and managed. Regulations must adapt to encourage innovation while maintaining safety and fairness. As populations age, housing regulation must address new needs. This includes accessible design standards, support for aging in place, and protections against elder abuse. By planning ahead, regulations can help older adults live safely and comfortably in their homes. Families have unique housing needs, and regulations can help meet them. This includes requirements for family-sized units, safe play areas, and proximity to schools. By considering families in regulation, communities become more welcoming and supportive for people of all ages. Accessibility is a key part of modern housing regulation. Laws require that new buildings be accessible to people with disabilities, including features like ramps, elevators, and wider doorways. These rules help ensure that everyone can find a home that meets their needs. With the rise of remote work and digital services, access to technology is increasingly important in housing. Regulations may require high-speed internet infrastructure in new developments, helping residents stay connected and access opportunities. To sum up, housing regulation is the collection of laws and policies that shape how homes are built, maintained, and lived in. These rules protect residents, promote fairness, and guide the growth of communities. While regulations come with challenges, they play a vital role in making housing safe, affordable, and accessible for everyone. As we look to the future, housing regulation will continue to evolve. New technologies, changing demographics, and global challenges will shape the way we think about housing policy. By staying informed and involved, we can help create regulations that support healthy, vibrant, and inclusive communities for generations to come.